Tall Tales is a one-act play performed amidst a 6-hour theatrical performance that tells the sweeping epic story titled Kentucky Cycle that won the Pulitzer in 1992. Tall Tales is the story of the Rowan family. J.T. Wells is the storyteller, hired by the Standard Oil Company to tell tales and steal their land with his fountain pen. The play is set in Appalachia, eastern Kentucky in 1885. It was first performed on the stage in Seattle, Washington on June 1, 1991. Lemoyne Community Arts is pleased to bring this strikingly beautiful script to our stage.
Spring used to explode in these mountains like a 2-pound charge of black powder hand-tamped down a rat hole. After months of gray skies and that damp mountain cold what bores into your bones like termites in a truckload of wood, it's your dogwood trees that finally announce what everything's been waiting for. First thing some morning, you might see a single blossom hanging there, light pink, the color of a lover's promise. If roses had a color. And then later that afternoon, damn, if that single bud ain't been joined by 100 of its brothers and sisters, all gathered around chatting each other up, Sunday go-to-meeting style. Of course, dogwood's just the beginning. The spark what lights the fuse for spring, that's the azaleas. When they get to going, you'd swear somebody'd scattered a whole handful of lit matches across those hills. Bible story is how old man Moses talked to a burning bush. But for my money, he was just conversing with the scarlet azalea in full bloom. Story just got a little expanded in the retelling, the way stories do. Fellow once told me a story. Said these ain't no real mountains here at all. That if you stood high enough, you could see it was just one big mound that had been crisscrossed and cut up into so many hills and valleys from the spring runoff that it just looked like mountains. Leastways, that was his story. Only, I don't put no truck in stories no more.
Friend? I'm a friend.
Shouldn't sneak up on nobody like that.
No, you're quite right, young lady, I shouldn't have. And under any other circumstances, my rudeness would merit your harshest disapprobation.
Huh?
You don't have to be pissed off. But the fact of the matter is, if you hadn't been in mortal danger just now, I would have probably walked right on by instead of saving your life.
My life?
Your immortal soul, at least.
How'd you figure that?
Why, staring into that stream like that, I've heard it said from them that knows that the devil himself hides his bleak heart in the muddy bottoms of slow-moving pools just like this.
You're just fooling.
Would that I were, ma'am. But 'tis a widely known fact that the devil often assumes the shape of an Ictororis punctatus.
A what?
A channel catfish.
You use more 25-cent words when a nickel word would do than any man I ever met.
Oh, He lies in wait for an innocent virgin to come along.
Devil have to wait a mighty long time for one of those in these parts.
Well, he's a mighty patient fellow, the devil is.
There is an old catfish in this creek.
Oh, yeah?
I ain't never seen him, but my daddy has. Almost caught him once. So's Tommy, but I think he was lying.
Is he your brother?
Nah, he's my boyfriend. These ways he thinks he is.
Mighty pretty here.
Yeah. I just love them old trees, especially that up there. That's my favorite.
Well, that's a beaut, all right.
Folks around here call that the treaty oak, because my great-great-granddaddy, Michael Rowan, that's where he bought this land from the Indians.
Is that a fact?
That's what my daddy says. I don't think there's a tree in these hills comes close to touching it for size. Leastways, I ain't never seen one. When I was a kid, I used to think that tree was all that kept the sky off my head. And if that tree ever fell down, the whole thing, moon and stars and all, would just come crashing down with it. I think sometimes how that tree was here way before I was born, and how it'll be here way after I'm gone. And that always makes me feel safe. I think this is just about my favorite spot in the whole world. Not that I've seen a whole lot of the world, but my daddy took me to Louisville once when I was 6. You ever been there?
Well, it just so happens I was in Louisville 3 weeks ago.
Yeah? I bet you've been to a whole heap of places where you talk and all.
Well, I've been here and there.
Where?
Places like Atlanta.
You've been to Atlanta, Georgia?
Hell, that ain't nothing. I've been to New York City.
No.
Yes, ma'am, I have been lived to tell the tale.
What's it like?
Well, I'll tell you, it's pert near indescribable. It's hundreds of buildings, each one taller than that old granddad oak of yours. Skyscrapers, that's what they call them. Skyscrapers, clawing up at the very fabric of heaven, threatening to push old Jesus Christ himself off his golden throne. Yeah, not more than 2 months ago, I was up in the top of one of those golden towers, and John D. Rockefeller himself shook me by this hand.
No.
Yes, ma'am, he did. And me, just a poor boy out of Breathitt County, said to me, he said, JT, you've got a future here. Imagine that. The richest man in the country, the standard oil king himself, standing no further from me than you are now.
Is that your name?
Huh?
JT, I was wondering what your name was.
Lord, it's just like me. I get to John so much, I clean forgot to introduce myself. JT Wells, at your service. The JT stands for just terrific. And who do I have the honor of speaking to? Say what?
Mary Ann Rowan. Most folks just call me Mayor, though.
Mayor? Well, I don't know. That doesn't seem like a proper name for a pretty thing like you. Let me see. You know what your name is in Spanish?
No.
Mariana.
Yeah?
Now that sounds about right, don't it? Got all the right colors to it and everything? Mariana.
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 Oh, hi, Tommy. JT, this is Tommy Jackson. Tommy, this is...
Just terrific. Wells, yeah, I heard.
Ah, the boyfriend, yes. Well, it's a rare pleasure to make your acquaintance. Young man, you're a very lucky fellow. But I guess you know it.
I've been told.
Yes, well.
Be nice, Tommy.
Like you were?
We weren't doing nothing.
Not yet, anyways.
Now, Mr. Jackson, I think there's been a little misunderstanding.
Take another step, Mr. Just Terrific, and I'm gonna misunderstand a hole the size of a butternut squash in the middle of your chest.
Now, damn it, Tommy, you just put that gun up right this minute. You hear me? Right now, or I ain't never gonna speak to you again, as long as I live.
Well, what's he doing here, huh? Answer me that.
Well, I'm sure I don't know, Mr. High and Mighty. Why don't you just ask him yourself? You ever think of that? No, I guess not. I guess some people have been up the creek and out of town so long that they've flown forget their manners. Mr. Wells, would you be good enough to tell this poor, ignorant hillbilly what you've been doing in these parts?
Well, now, that'd be a real pleasure, Miss Rowan. Fact of the matter is, I'm here to see your daddy.
My pa?
Mr. Jed Rowan of Housen County, Kentucky, currently living up on Shilling Creek. I guess I am. I'm a storyteller.
Where are you going next?
Oh, just down the road a piece.
You think you ever come back through here?
Not likely.
Lucky you.
Seems like a real pretty place to me, Mary Ann.
It's boring. It's always the same. I'd love to do what you do. Travel around and meet folks, see new places.
Maybe my life isn't quite as glamorous as you think.
No?
No.
I don't know. Want to try it?
No. Come on, Mary Ann, let's get going.
Couldn't we just stop for a minute? Keep walking like this and we get to that road in no time.
Well, just a minute.
Sure is a mighty fine mood tonight.
Pretty.
Sometimes I get so restless on a night like this. I get up, sneak out of the house, and walk through the woods all by myself. Feels like I'm swimming through the moonlight, like a big old lake.
Long time ago, all this was underwater, you know.
When was that?
Thousands and thousands of years ago.
What happened?
Somebody pulled the plug.
Oh, really?
Nobody knows. Things change, that's all. Once time there was an ocean and now there isn't. One time there weren't no mountains here and now there are. Of course, those aren't really mountains, you know.
No.
That's the Cumberland Plateau. Big, flat-topped, rise of land. It's the water, year after year, thousands of years, cutting canyons and gullies. Just makes it seem like mountains.
Gosh.
Ain't nothing what it really seems. Not even mountains. All right, let's get going. I can't take you with me, Mary Ann.
Why not?
Because this is where you belong. Swimming in this damn Kentucky moonlight on these mountains that ain't mountains. Now let's go.
I ain't showing you where the road is unless you kiss me first.
What? You really are your father's dog.
I suppose so.
He ain't gonna change my mind.
I know.
I said I wouldn't forget you.
Help me! Help me!
Stop it! Stop it! You're gonna kill him! Stop it!
Son of a bitch attacked me!
Let me see.
Came at me, little son of a bitch.
You all right?
Son of a bitch. You saved my life.
I guess.
How come?
I need a reason.
How come?
I love you.
It doesn't change anything, Marianne. You can't come with me.
I know.
Will you stop being so goddamn understanding about everything? Goddamn hillbillies! I could cut your throat with a rusty razor, but as long as I smiled and told you another story, you'd be happy as pigs in shit. Oh, Lord. I can't do this. I can't do this no more.
Can't do what?
Everything I ever told you, it's all lies. All of it. Your poor old pa thinking he's slick as goose shit. $1 an acre. A joke. There he is sitting on top of maybe 15, 20,000 tons of coal an acre.
What's coal?
Oh, nothing, little hillbilly. Just rocks, that's all. Millions of dollars of rocks. But your daddy just sold me for a lousy buck. Millions. Oh, he's slick, all right. Poor dumb son of a bitch.
You're lying.
That ain't even the worst of it. You You ain't seen what they do. I swear, Jay, I promise they'll be real careful with your land. Oh, sure, they're careful. Careful not to miss a trick. First they come in here and cut down all your trees.
No!
Listen to me, goddammit. First they come in here and cut down all your trees. And then they cut into the land, hunting those deep veins, digging them out in their deep mines, dumping the crap they can't use in your streams, your wells, your fields, whatever. When they finished, after they squeezed every nickel, they just move on. Leave your land colder and better than the moon up there.
It ain't so!
The hell it ain't!
If that's true, how can you do it? How can you do that to your own people? You a hillbilly just like my daddy, just like me.
I ain't no hillbilly.
You said you was a boy off the creek, just like
That was a long time ago. Now I'm whoever I say I am. I'm J.T. Wells, and I invent myself new every day. Just like the stories I tell.
Don't matter what you call yourself. You still one of us. That's the truth.
Truth? Hell, woman, there's no such thing. All there is stories.
What are you saying?
Sure, everybody's got his stories. Your daddy's got his stories. Civil War hero, right? Fought with that gentleman, Quantrill, right? Shit. Quantrill was a thief and a murderer, and when he died, folks danced in the streets.
My daddy was a hero.
Oh, of course he was. And he's the son of heroes, pioneer style. That ain't the truth. He's the son of thieves who came here and slaughtered the Indians and took their land.
We bought this land from the Indians under that oak tree fair and square.
Well, sure you did. And the people I work for, those Standard Oil people, they bought this land fair and square too. And you think they'll sleep any worse at night than your pa does? When they come in here, maybe they'll cut the heart out of that old oak he loves so much.
No!
And they'll ship it off to New York City and turn it into a fine banker's desk and swivel-back chair for Mr. Rockefeller himself. You think when he sits his skinny ass down on that polished surface, he's going to be thinking about some poor hillbilly girl whose heart got broke in the process? You won't be part of his story, Mary Ann. When I finish my job for him, I won't be part of his story either. You see, he'll give some money to some school or something, and grateful people will call him a hero. A great man, a real Christian. And that story is the one that'll survive. He'll see to that. While the other story, the one where he's just a thief, that'll fade away. That's your truth.
Daddy, you're wrong. It ain't just stories.
That's how somebody like me can do what he does. I just tell people the stories they want to hear. I say what people want me to say, and I am whatever they want me to be.
Then what's left?
Of what?
At the end of the day, when you're by yourself, who are you? Why'd you almost kiss me back there?
Tell me what you want to hear, and I'll tell you why I almost kissed you. Take your boyfriend home, little hillbilly. At least he fights for what he believes in, thinks he believes in. At least he thinks he believes in something. Take him home and marry him and live happily ever after. Here. I owe you one. Tear it up. Tell Jed to tear up his banknote, too.
I told my pa what JT said. And Pa said it was a lie. That JT was lying. That he beat JT in the deal, and now JT was just trying to get out of it. Trying to get his money back. to. Like he said, I guess, people believe what they want to believe. And he was right, of course. Probably the only time in his life J.T. Wells spoke the truth and nobody believed him. People say God ain't got a sense of humor. They came, a couple years later, just like he said they would, and they cut down all of the trees, including my oak. I was right about it holding up the sky, because when they chopped it down, everything fell in, moon and stars and all. Without the trees, you get no color, no green explosion. What you get is a whole lot of rain moving a whole lot of mud. I tried to tell my boy Joshua what it was like, so he'll know, so it won't be forgotten. But he just looks at me and laughs. Mom's telling stories again. Maybe I am.
Then the coal company came with the world's largest shovel. They tortured the timber and they stripped all the land. They dug for their coal till the land was forsaken, wrote it all down as the progress of man. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Middle County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? We'll take a 15-minute intermission here and then back to the